Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to see all of you here. I'm Father John, and today we are very fortunate to have with us Mr. Jerry Volker. And Jerry is a part of our team here at St. Anthony's. He's responsible for all of our financial situation here at the parish, and I'm truly grateful that he is part of our team. So I just want to thank you, Jerry, for all you're doing, and I want to welcome you here today.
Thank you, Father John.
And what our plan is to give you a little update on our financial situation here at St. Anthony and how we're doing. And so, Jerry, what are those areas that are included when we talk about St. Anthony Parish?
Well, St. Anthony Parish has three components to it. It has a cemetery, it has a school, and it has the church itself. They're all under the parish umbrella, as it were.
So let's take a look at each of those areas, because I think it's important that people understand where we're at. And so in our parish, we have a beautiful school, and we have an excellent principal and some wonderful, awesome teachers that work so hard. And right now, as you know, all schools are closed in a sense, but our school is continually run via internet or online learning. And so our teachers are still working, everybody is still involved, so that's important to know. So Jerry, how is our school doing overall financially, perhaps before this closure and now what are the situations, what's happening?
Well, before the closure, we were in the middle of doing a capital campaign.
To build a new school, right?
To build a new school. And we were also doing some repairs on the existing buildings and moving those along so that for the next couple of years while we're still using them, we could still occupy them safely and bring up grades and make it more functional. We continued with the repair of the roof in the old cafeteria in the school, and that just got done a couple of weeks ago, so feel good about that. The financial picture is a little bit more tricky with the school. Needless to say, there's a lot going on. A lot of school families, someone has been impacted financially. You have either people losing jobs, furloughs, pay reductions, everything else. And we try to be cognizant of that for families. But our billing periods for the school are June through April. So the real effect of what's going to happen with the school financially is more likely going to be seen in next year. Where it hurt this year's school year was our extended care. The revenue from those 3 months, March, April, May, June, part of June, part of March, we no longer get. The hot lunch revenue, unfortunately, and those things have a bottom line effect, but we had a very strong balance sheet. We had a very good cash position, so we're able to get through it and we're able to look towards the future. Concerns will be that we're going to need to be doing things next year. I don't think anyone really knows what's going to happen with, when we're going to reopen as an economy, when the school will reopen. With everything being so fluid, we just have to be aware of that things can change, and be reactive to it.
Well, we also have to tell people, because sometimes there's, I hear sometimes, bits and pieces, rumors, that kind of thing, that St. Anthony, will it shut down? And that's not going to happen, my friends. We're very committed to our school, very committed to our children.
Well, one of the things we did financially, I think set us ahead. I know that we were the first school in the diocese that we got the payment protection program loans. We didn't just apply or get put in the queue, we actually got them. We also applied for some Washington County grants and for some state grants to help get us through this time period. It's more of a bridge through, but these are grants that will be forgiven. So we got one of them. We feel confident that we'll get the other two, as well as having the payment protection program. So that'll see us through this fiscal year. And, like I said, our balance sheet is very strong. So we have a good position going into next year. We just want to make sure that all our wonderful staff over at the school and at the parish is able to be kept on board. It's a people first mentality around here, and we're doing everything we can for them, protecting the benefits and everything else. So
yeah, we want you to know that we treasure every member of our school team and every teacher, and I can't tell you enough of how wonderful our teachers are and how they go out of their way. And so our school is a kind of a work in progress. But we want to guarantee you, my friends, that we are going to do all we can. And as you know, my dream, and I know Jerry, it's your dream too, is to build a beautiful new school. And who would have thought we were just in the silent phase and everything was going on, and then this hit. And and I wonder what other obstacles do we face. But we're going to meet with our leadership committee of our school, won't we, Jerry?
Yeah.
Those that are on our group to help us in terms of looking at the future and seeing areas. So those of you, you know who you are, will be calling upon you soon, that we're going to meet via Zoom to kind of look at this scenario for the future of the school. But right now we have to focus on our reality, and we want to be able to treasure the gift that we have here at St. Anthony. So that's our school picture. And then finally, and which is really the most important, I think, part of our three-prong is our church, part of our parish. And this is where we celebrate Mass. We have a wonderful team that does so much outreach and everything. So, Jerry, how's our church looking, the financial picture of the church?
The church is a more complicated issue, to be quite honest with you, because needless to say, revenues are based on masses. People being able to come in. Yes, people are fantastic and they're so generous. They donate online, they send in money, they're still supportive.
Yeah, so Jerry, just to interrupt you there, how is our collection doing though? So how was the collection prior to this time?
Well, to give you an example, for a typical March, we're down, because of having to shut off Mass and stuff, we're down to about $28,000.
$28,000, Yeah, that's rather difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so that revenue that we get from weekly collections and so on, what is a typical collection every week here at St. Anthony's?
$12,000 to $15,000.
$12,000 to $15,000. And that's really important because that revenue really helps us with all of our ministries, right?
It's everything, and it also supports the school. The parish gives the school a subsidy, and it's all encompassing. There's a relationship between the school, the parish, the cemetery. They all work together, and that symbiotic relationship that they all have financially, when one isn't able to perform at the same level, it has an effect on the others.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, for right now, for the parish, as generous as people are, we still do have parishioners that come to Mass every week and just put money in the collection basket.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit, Jerry. That's a very good point. And I know that earlier I did a video with Katie, who's our coordinator of development, and we did a kind of a video about online giving and everything. And so a lot of our people, they do put into the collection basket every week. And I've noticed also, by the way, which I'm very grateful for, that some parishioners have come here in person to give their money. They've dropped it in our mail slot, and I'm so grateful for that. And that's important. However, there's another means, and that is what we call the online giving, right?
Yes.
And that's that money is directly given from their bank accounts. Is that one way of doing it?
Yes.
Can you explain the whole system there?
Well, we have if you go to our website, you have a give button or a give tab, and it's connected through Greater Giving. So people enter their financial information into Greater Giving. They can choose to use a bank account. They can use a credit card. We have all sorts of ways they can make a payment to it. Then Greater Giving is just the processing agent, and they send the money to us.
So when you go onto our website, that's www.satigard.org. When you go into that website, there's a area there, financial section, and there's a button that says Give. And you can sign up for automatic withdrawals, or they can even give one time and that kind of thing?
Yes, they can do any amount and numerous times, or they can do one, whatever works for them.
And so I know that we are in difficult times, but as a community, it's not something that we always like to talk about, but it is a reality. And so we have a responsibility as a community. I personally, Jerry, I don't know how you do, but I personally have money taken out of my bank account every month for the parish community. And that really is very helpful and it's very stable. And so right now, what is the percentage of people that are doing online?
Right now, our actual percentages of people that give during Mass is 46%. Then we have another 54% use either online or credit cards. And they do a credit card giving on a monthly basis. That's directly through the parish business office.
So, okay, good. So you can see there, we'd like to get some of that 46%. Is
Yes.
that, so we want to get some of that 46% to perhaps get to that online giving as well. So that's going to help us because just like the school and everything, we treasure our ministers and the people that we have working for you. And also, you know, our parish, we also have a wonderful St. Vincent de Paul Society, don't we?
Yes, we do.
They're open every day.
Yes, in fact, they've been increasing the amount that they're giving out to the community because food banks are being hit really hard across the country. There are so many people that need help, and St. Vincent de Paul has really stepped into that void.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so my office is facing the whole parking lot here, and I can see the St. Vincent de Paul building, and I can't tell you how wonderful it is to see so many of our parishioners hard at work, giving to those who are in need. And by the way, during this time, don't ever feel ashamed to come forth and to get food and those kinds of things. It's turned into like a little grocery store actually over there, and it's quite good. And let's take a look at our cemetery on Gardy Street, right? It's right down the street there. And it used to be the original ground of our original parish here at St. Anthony. And we are so blessed to have such a beautiful place. So Jerry, what is our situation there at the cemetery? How is that being run right now?
Well, financially, the cemetery is doing very well. It has a cemetery director, Jim Habruski, who does a magnificent job at it.
He really does, doesn't he?
He does. He's really good. And there's not a lot of employees in the cemetery. We use a lot of volunteers, so there's not a lot of costs and a lot of overhead. Not a lot has changed during a pandemic with the cemetery. The cemetery, when I first got here, has a permanent care fund that was about $800,000. It went up to a high of 1.2 million. It's a little over $1 million now due to the recent changes in the stock market and everything. But we've been very fortunate. A few years ago, we put in a structure called the columbarium. And for those that don't know what a columbarium is, it's a cremation wall. And we sell niches in that. And that has been what has been moving the cemetery. It used to be in ground more so than cremations, but now it's 9-to-1 cremations. So it's been doing very well.
Mm-hmm. And just so you know, perpetual care is something that all Catholic cemeteries especially are mandated to have. And that means that forever really we need to take care of our cemetery. Even when the cemetery closes someday, it'll be many years before that happens, but when it does, we're still responsible to keep it tidy and neat and have somebody there that's going to take care of it. So that's what the perpetual care is about. And there has to be always enough money in there to be able to handle that into the future. And so that's important. So anyway, we've also, just so you know, we put together a new brochure here. It's a beautiful brochure of our cemetery, and it has all kinds of pictures in there and also the costs of things. So if you're interested in getting interested in our cemetery, it's always good to pre-plan and take a look at things, so you can always let us know and we will get you a brochure. So anyway, that's our cemetery, a little update. And so anyway, as you can see that our parish is really complex, and we really need to take care of this parish, and we need to grow as a community, because again, the church, remember, is not a building. The church is you and me. And so we are called to give of our time and our talent and our treasure. And I think it's so important that we can all do our part, whatever that is, that it is important. So financially, though, our parish overall is doing okay, but we just can't sit back and relax, right?
Yeah, and our modeling shows that during the stay-at-home requests, we're going to be down about 30 to 40% in revenue each month that this continues. And as you know, the Easter time period being closed was hard on everyone. So
Yes, and that's one of our big times of giving. So
it's our biggest.
I really want to really urge you to participate if you can in your giving. Let's not. We have to still take this responsibility. Remember, because it's not just about coming to Mass and I'm there and therefore I'll give. It's bigger than that. We're a family, we're a community, and we have to take care of one another. And speaking of taking care of each other, Jerry, we kind of were thinking about that reality as well, because a lot of our people now are out of work too, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of our people are struggling and hardship, and so we were thinking that also as part of a community and outreach to you. What were some of your thoughts on that? What can we do now, Jerry, to set this up for our people?
Well, because we've been able to get some federal money and some state money and some grants that can be used for specific things, and from what we've taken from reserves of the church, we're going to put together a fund where we're going to help parishioners that have need. We're going to it's going to be like a Google Doc where you can submit it to the parish business office and let us know if you need assistance with your rent or with your utilities, if you need help buying gasoline for your car to go to work, if you need help with childcare. Now, the funds are limited. The range is still up in the air, but we'll probably have $15,000 to $18,000 to assist people. We don't know what we're going to cap it out at yet. We're still having to talk about that as a team to figure out how much, but we'll have a Google Doc form that people can access online, and if they need assistance, parishioners, people in the community will be there to help them as much as we can.
Yeah, because we need to take care of one another, and this is our community. So it's not just about taking, but it's about using our funds, using our reality in a very wise and prudent way. And so we'll set that up, and we really want you to know that we're here for you. And that's why we all have to do our part so that we can help one another during this time. And what about the school?
We should have that available by mid next week.
By mid next week, we'll have something available to you, and perhaps Jerry and I, we can continue to have periodic time where we can meet and let you know how things are going so that we can keep you up to date. What about the school families, Jerry? There are a lot of school families now that are struggling.
Yes, and people have been very generous in the past, and because again of these same programs, we're putting together something for the school families that is for this current school year. Next year, we know the tuition assistant needs are going to skyrocket, and we're working that into budget modeling and looking at enrollment and everything else. So those numbers probably won't be finalized till sometime during the summer. But for people that are losing their jobs, layoffs, that have to worry about tuition payments, how are they going to do, anything they deferred, anything else, we put some money aside for that. We've put about $22,000 aside for that, and people can contact the business office on a case-by-case basis. We're not going to be able to give someone free tuition, for example, $6,000 or something, but we can help them with the rest of this year. We can help a few families or as many as we can if we stretch it out over more of them. This isn't a fund to refund for field trips, or it's not a fund to refund for, school uniforms or something else. This is something to help them get through the school year with tuition bills that they have that are past due, or hot lunch bills that are past due, or extended care, or to possibly with a registration fee or something for next year. But we're putting that together, and again, that should be ready by the end of next week.
Yeah, I think that's another way of showing you, my friends, that we are concerned about this and we want to take care of this, but we all need to be serious about this also, and to be realistic for what we can do, and we want to try our best to help those, especially those who are in need. Jerry, you mentioned something.
Well, John, did you ever see the movie It's a Wonderful Life?
Oh, Wonderful Life, yeah.
Where George Bailey is in the bank and everything else, and the different people are saying they need cash and everything else, and the first person that comes up to him is saying he wants his whole account out and everything else. We want it to be more like everyone else that's in the bank, asking for what can get them by. What's
Right.
the little minimum amount? We don't need that one person calling in saying, I need $10,000.
Right, right, yeah.
We're trying to help from that way, that we're all in this together.
Right. And so those of you who can give more and help to support, please do so. And also it works in various ways.
Yes.
So we all want to do our part, and it's about building a parish family. We want to be strong. We want to be courageous. We want to come together, and we want to grow in our faith. We want to deepen our relationship with Jesus Christ. And I really believe, Jerry, that in this time of pandemic, the Lord is really speaking to us all, and I think the Lord is, really, telling us that we have to start looking at the way we live, how we are building in our relationships, how we are growing together. I think there's something very powerful in this whole time of pandemic, and so that's good. Jerry, one more thing about the school. You mentioned it kind of in passing a little bit. We have, we've always had these big trips, these chrysalis trips, and these different classes go on this, and some people have put money down and everything. How's that situation, Jerry? Can you talk about that a little bit? And a chrysalis trip, by the way, is given to the 8th graders and 7th graders. 7th graders go where?
7th graders go to BC, Vancouver.
BC, Vancouver, and the 8th graders normally went to
Washington, D.C.
It broke my heart that they couldn't do it this year,
The 6th graders go up to Washington, up by Redmond, Washington.
Oh, for their
outdoor school.
Outdoor school, yeah.
Okay. Well, we've been contacting. In fact, we were on this at the beginning of March. We were thinking before any school closures, before the governor stepped in. We actually, the first week of March, looked at going to online school because you could see what was happening. And we contacted the different travel agencies, and unfortunately, it's not just one person you're calling. When you call a travel agent, they have to contact hotels, they have to contact airlines, then you have the problems of each industry, which ones are facing financial distress, which ones are saying, oh, we're going to issue you a credit for when things are back to normal, versus which ones are saying, well, we're about to go bankrupt. We can't give you anything unless we get a federal bailout. And most of the stuff they're telling us is it's going to take months to get it back. However, some are being more responsive than others. Take the 6th grade class, for example. The 6th grade chrysalis trip, they refunded the money to us, and we refunded it back to the families. As soon as we get it back, we will refund it back. We don't keep it. It's turned over directly to them. And we talk to them every week, couple of weeks. It's increasing more and more. I've heard rumors of other schools or universities getting money returned to them. However, when I've talked to our travel agents, they said they've had 60-some cancellations of trips, that not just ours, St. Anthony's, but other schools, and they haven't refunded one yet. So it's all a waiting game. We are well aware of it, and we're doing everything we can to get the money back.
But I think the main thing is that we got your back, and we're working on that,
Yes.
and we're working with these companies, and we're taking this very seriously.
Yes.
Because we treasure our Christmas trips, and that's important. But you all have to be patient also, because this is an issue that we're dealing with these companies, right?
Well, yeah, these companies, a lot of them will go under. They're going to lose their livelihoods. So we're trying to be as patient with them as we can. At the same time, we have families that are struggling too.
Yeah. So I just want to thank you, Jerry, for joining me today, and I'm hoping that we can do more of this as we go along. And just to how can people get a hold of you, Jerry, if they want to get a hold of you?
They can call into the office. I check my mail daily.
You call in the office, and what is your extension?
114.
114. So you call the office and press in 114 and talk with Jerry. He's really there for you and to help you. And if it's an issue that you raise that we have to be concerned about, we always discuss things as a team. But we want you to know that I just put the trust in the Lord, and we are strong, and we are a people growing in our love for the Lord, in our relationship with the Lord, and I know more than you realize. I know how difficult this time is, And believe me, as a priest, as a pastor, not to be able to have mass in church, this breaks my heart more than you know. And as soon as we start to be able to ramp up, we're going to do it. We're going to figure out this. And I want you to know that this isn't easy. But I also feel that the Lord in all of this is helping us to be stronger, helping us to really grow in our desire for the Eucharist, for His life, and to really put focus in on what is most important. So I want to thank you all. So please get a hold of Jerry at any time, or myself, and we're here for you. We're here to work with you. And thank all of you, by the way, who have been coming in and bringing your contribution into the church. It's really great. And so I really want to thank you for that. And I see a lot of people just driving up, dropping their money off. I thank you. And remember, if you can go online to give, I can't tell you how important that is, and how that would be very helpful to everything that we want to do here at St. Anthony's. God is with us, and our life is really centered in prayer. That's the main thing. We have to pray. Even our staff now, our leadership team that we just did this morning, every day now we're praying at 9 o'clock as a team, really growing in our relationship to the Lord. That has to be the center of our lives. And hopefully on weekends you'll be able to do live streaming. And Jerry, as you know, and also in terms of what we need here, that's one of the things we realize that is really important, so that we can do live streaming forever now. We're going to be working on that, because one thing we don't realize is that, like the homebound, who have always been crying because they cannot come to church and really struggling with that, and we kind of take those things for granted. Now that none of us can go to church, we really are excited when we can have this kind of live streaming and this view. And so that's something that we realize now, that we have to focus in on all of our homebound and all of those sourcing. So that's on our agenda as well, to really make sure that we can provide a high-tech situation here at St. Anthony's. And so anyway, my friends, I just want to thank you so much, and thank you, Jerry, for being a part of our team. I can't tell you, my friends, how blessed we are to have this great man here on our leadership team. And as we move forward, I'll have other members of our team. We'll have kind of the same kind of conversation to keep you up to date. Well, God bless you, and thank you so much, Jerry. Bye-bye now.
Bye.